So what does it really take to forgive your worst enemy? I mean, really forgive them. We're about to dive into this incredible story about fear, about courage, and a single choice that sent ripples through all of history. This is the story of the courage of forgiveness.
Our story starts with this, just terrifying description. Imagine someone so consumed by hate that they are literally breathing out threats and murder. His very breath is a weapon. That's the world we're stepping into, and the stakes could not be higher. And at the very heart of this conflict, you've got two men on an absolute collision course. On one side, you have Saul, the hunter, and on the other, Ananias, a man who will be called to be the healer. The contrast here is just wow, it's stark.
Okay, so let's talk about the enemy. Let's get to know Saul of Tarsus. This guy wasn't just someone who disagreed with the early followers of Jesus. No, he was the mastermind, the chief architect of this incredibly violent campaign against them.
And this wasn't just some random violence. The mission he was on was huge, and it was official. I mean, he was armed with letters from the high priest himself. He was systematically hunting people down, dragging men and women from their homes to throw them in prison. His next stop? The city of Damascus. This was a man you would be right to fear. But then, on that very road, something totally unexpected happens. A light from heaven, so blindingly bright it literally knocks him to the ground. And just like that, he's left completely blind, totally helpless. The hunter is stopped dead in his tracks.
So while the great hunter is lying there blind, our story's focus shifts, and we meet Ananias. Now, Ananias isn't a general, he's not a famous leader, he's just a regular, devout guy living his life in Damascus. But he is about to get an order that seems absolutely impossible.
Can you imagine hearing this? Go find the man, Saul, the one person whose entire reputation is built on destroying you and everyone you care about. The command is so simple, so direct, and it has to be the most terrifying thing he's ever heard.
And Ananias' reaction is, well, it's completely human. It's totally logical. He basically says, Lord, are you sure? You know who this guy is, right? He's voicing the exact same fear that any of us would feel. This isn't some superhero. He's a real person staring down a terrifying command. So let's just pause right here for a second. Try to put yourself in Ananias' shoes. The person who is a mortal threat to your life, to your family, to your friends, is now vulnerable, helpless, and you are told to go help him. Seriously, what do?
What Ananias decides to do next? Well, this is the hinge on which the whole story turns. It's an act of what you can only call courageous forgiveness, a single choice that is literally going to change the world.
So, despite all that fear, despite every single rational voice in his head screaming at him to stay home and lock the door, Ananias makes a choice. He goes.
You can just picture him, right? Walking through the streets of Damascus, heading straight for the source of all his community's terror.
He gets to the house, he walks inside, and now he is standing right in front of the man who came to his city to capture him.
And then he says two of the most unexpected words you could possibly imagine. Not Saul the persecutor, not my enemy. He says, Brother Saul. Without one word, brother. He offers forgiveness. He offers family. And that single word changes absolutely everything.
So what was the outcome of this incredible moment of courage? Well, Ananias' act of obedience unleashed a transformation that, honestly, nobody could have seen coming.
And in that moment, something the Bible describes as scales falls from Saul's eyes and he can see again. But it's not just physical sight, it's spiritual sight too. He is healed and he is fundamentally changed from the inside out.
So this man, who had been completely defined by his role as the persecutor,
immediately has his whole world flipped upside down. His life is completely inverted. From this point on, the hunter becomes the hunted, pursued for the very faith he once tried to destroy.
And the change was total. It was immediate. The guy who hunted believers became their most powerful champion. He started preaching the very message he wanted to silence, confusing everybody who knew him. And eventually, of course, he became the Apostle Paul, the man who would go on to write a massive part of the New Testament.
You know, it all traces back to one man's choice. Ananias' story gives us, I think, a perfect definition of what real courage is. See, it's not about being fearless. Ananias was definitely afraid. Courage is feeling that fear, acknowledging it, and then choosing to act anyway. It's a choice. And that kind of brings the question right back to us, doesn't it? Ananias was asked to do something huge, face his mortal enemy, and offer forgiveness. Maybe the act of courage we're being asked to do isn't quite so dramatic, but maybe it feels just as impossible. So what is it for you?